Welcome to today's video. Today, we will talk about the outrageousness and defiance of Donald Trump, the man who once served as the President of the United States and is now preparing for the 2024 presidential election. He is a figure of constant controversy. The events surrounding his life and political career have repeatedly stirred public opinion, raising many questions about his ethics, character, and use of power. Throughout his career, Trump has been known not only for his controversial policies, but also for how he has treated women, election institutions, and even American democracy itself. The blend of his assertive personality, refusal to accept defeat, and his willingness to use any means to achieve his goals has created a complex picture of a powerful and highly ambitious individual. One of the most discussed aspects of Trump is how he has handled personal relationships with women. Allegations of sexual harassment and disrespect toward women have haunted him for years, long before he entered politics. Most notably, a widely publicized incident was the 2005 Access Hollywood recording in which Trump bragged about his perceived ability to approach women without consent. His infamous remark, "Grab them by the pussy, I can do anything," sparked outrage. Although Trump later apologized, dismissing it as locker room talk, the comment revealed a part of his nature, a man who believes that power and fame allow him to bypass basic moral boundaries. Trump's attempts to downplay the significance of his words did little to quell public anger, especially as multiple women came forward to accuse him of sexual harassment. One of the most prominent accusations came from E. Jean Carroll, who filed a lawsuit against Trump for sexual assault and defamation. This case became a significant legal milestone in Trump's career, with a jury ruling that Trump had indeed sexually abused Carroll and ordering him to pay $5 million in damages. This was the first time in U.S. history that a former president was found guilty of sexual abuse, marking a turning point in how the public viewed Trump. The case of E. Jean Carroll is not the only instance where Trump has faced allegations of sexual misconduct. Jessica Leeds, another woman, testified that Trump groped her on a plane and attempted to put his hand up her skirt. The fact that multiple women spoke out about Trump's behavior highlights a clear pattern of inappropriate conduct. Nonetheless, Trump continues to deny all accusations, dismissing them as politically motivated attacks by his opponents. These incidents not only tarnish Trump's personal reputation, but also reflect a broader pattern of how he approaches power. In his treatment of women, we see a man who refuses to take no for an answer, someone who imposes his will on others without regard for consent. This, in a larger context, mirrors how Trump approaches political power. He is not just a man with immense personal ambition, but also one willing to use any means necessary to achieve his goals, even if that means ignoring or breaking the fundamental rules of democracy. This was most evident after the 2020 presidential election, when Trump refused to accept his defeat to Joe Biden. Despite the clear election results, with Biden securing 306 electoral votes to Trump's 232 and winning over 7 million more popular votes, Trump insisted that the election had been stolen. He repeatedly made baseless claims of voter fraud and attempted to overturn the outcome through legal actions and political pressure. Trump called election officials in battleground states like Georgia and Michigan, urging them to alter the results or at least refuse to certify Biden's victory. One of the most infamous calls was made to Brad Raffensperger, Georgia's Secretary of State, where Trump demanded that he find 11,780 votes to flip the state's results in his favor. When Raffensperger refused, Trump publicly attacked him, subtly threatening him with hostile rhetoric. This was a clear example of how Trump uses his power and influence to achieve his ends, disregarding democratic norms and the will of voters. But Trump didn't stop there. He called on thousands of his supporters to march on Washington, D.C. on January 6, 2021, to pressure Congress as it convened to certify the election results. This call to action led to the violent attack on the Capitol, an event that many consider one of the gravest threats to U.S. democracy in modern history. As Trump supporters stormed the Capitol, smashing windows, assaulting police officers, and hunting for then Vice President Mike Pence, who had refused to participate in Trump's coup attempt, Trump watched the chaos unfold on television, refusing to intervene. He even expressed sympathy for the mob's threats against Pence, reportedly saying, "Maybe Mike Pence deserves it." Trump's refusal to respect the outcome of the 2020 election is a reflection of the same behavior he exhibited in his personal life. He does not accept rejection, he does not accept defeat, and he is willing to impose his will on others through force or undemocratic means. His actions after the 2020 election, from pressuring election officials to inciting violence at the Capitol, show that he not only disregards the electoral process, but also holds American democracy itself in contempt. When we look at Trump's overall approach to power and politics, it becomes clear that his behavior is not limited to personal or political matters alone. For Trump, power is something he can and must seize by any means necessary, regardless of ethical or legal boundaries. This has been demonstrated not only through his personal conduct with women, but also in how he handled the election and posed threats to the very foundation of American democracy. With the 2024 presidential election looming, Trump once again has the opportunity to impose his will on the country. The question is not just whether he can win, but whether he will respect the democratic process if he loses again. Given the precedents Trump has set, we face the very real risk that he will continue to employ similar tactics to achieve his objectives, even if that means undermining the core principles of democracy. The election is not simply a choice between two candidates with differing policies, but a confrontation between two views of power and democracy. While most candidates accept defeat and respect the will of the people, Trump has repeatedly shown that he does not take no for an answer and will do whatever it takes to hold on to power. This raises serious concerns about the future of American democracy and whether the country can withstand another Trump presidency with all the threats he poses to democratic values. Trump's combination of personal scandals and his approach to political power is a warning about what could happen if he continues to pursue power at all costs. Democracy is not just built on legal processes, but on a respect for the values and principles of consent. With Trump, these principles seem to hold little value, and that is precisely why we must carefully consider the future he represents.